What's up, y'all? It's your man Derek Andre, and this is Totally Disgusted. And what if we are actually AI? Let's totally discuss it. This is Totally Disgusted with your host, Derek Andre. What's up, gang? It's your man, Derek Andre, and I hope everyone is doing well. I apologize for my absence. I have started a new job. If you're interested in seeing what I'm doing, check out the playlist on the homepage. It is about me being an Amazon package delivery driver at the age of 54. Please watch more videos. All right, y'all. On today's episode of Totally Disgusted, I'd like to talk about this concept that I had, and y'all will probably think I'm crazy, which I'm used to, and it's okay. But, maybe somebody might agree with me. If not, that's okay too. But I've always had this question, maybe not a concept, but a question. What if we are actually AI? What if we are humanoids? What if we are the end result of what is being created right now in regards to robotics and AI? They always say that there's nothing new under the sun, right? Nothing new. Everything is basically a theory. We think we know about our past and our history and ancient times, but a lot of it is only a theory. Yes, there are history books that talk about it, but sometimes history can be flawed, as we all know. But we are prone to believe that everything that we're doing now in science, as it pertains to technology and artificial intelligence and robotics, we are inclined to believe that all of this stuff is new. But I find it interesting that scientists who work in the field of robotics that are interested in creating robots always want to make robots seem as human as possible. That's the goal. How human can we make this robot look and behave? So years ago, I was sitting at the dinner table with my family, and me being me, I posed the question to them: what if we are the end result of what is currently being created? What if what is actually happening right now in laboratories across the globe is only us recreating ourselves? You know what I mean? Because when you think about the human body, our brain is a very, very sophisticated computer. Our eyes are very sophisticated cameras. They have depth perception, so on and so forth. Our bones, it's nothing but an exoskeleton, has to support, this frame. What if our skin, because we need sunlight, what if our skin is basically refined solar panels. Think about our joints and how they move. You know, all of our joints have to be lubricated so that they don't seize up. If you don't put oil in a machine, it will seize up. Our heart is a power source. In order for this machine that we call a human body to keep functioning, the heart has to keep it going. It's like the little engine that could. What if we are the end result of what is currently being created? What if scientists are recreating us? So, earlier today, and this is what prompted this particular podcast. Earlier today, I was on Google and I was about to look something else up, but this video caught my eye. So, it's called The Time Lapse of Future Humanoid Robots from the year 2029 to 2200 and beyond. If you're interested in watching it, the YouTube channel is Venture City. And in this video, it basically talks about AI and humanoid robots ultimately becoming more human-like, basically outnumbering actual humans, and becoming the ruling, what's the word I'm looking for? The ruling life force. And I'm going to put that in air quotes, life force. It was a very interesting video to watch. It's about 17 minutes long. But it made me wonder if what I've been thinking all this time is true. There's a lot of things that people can do with technology and robotics and all of that stuff. You know, robotics is in everything nowadays. You know, the last job I had as an electrician, I was working at a car plant in Wentzville, Missouri. And what they were doing, it was a retool. What they were doing was taking out all of the old conveyors and all the old technology and replacing it with newer, more modern robots. And they were very efficient. So there are ways that you can use robotics. There's unmanned forklifts and fork trucks and stuff like that. There are ways that you can use robotics that does not have to resemble a human being. But that ain't what they want to do, man. The ultimate goal, I think, in biological and technological science is to make a robot so lifelike that you cannot differentiate the robot from the actual human. That's the goal. That is the goal. And if that's the goal, who's to say that that's not what we already are? 360 degrees. That's the cycle of life. The more they dig up, the more questions they have, because we have a tendency to think that our ancestors were not as technologically inclined as we are today. But the more they dig up and the more they find, the more they have questions. I just saw a video the other day that somebody found their way to the bottom of the pyramids, which didn't answer any questions. It just created more. When you look at a lot of the stone structures across the globe, and they have these very precise angles, and they move these big gigantic boulders that weigh tons and tons and tons. And no matter what we do, we can't figure out how all of that stuff was created or how it got there. As advanced as we are, we can't figure it out. So what makes you think that what's going on right now is new? What if the world was destroyed thousands upon thousands upon thousands of years ago, and everything that is what we view as new already existed? What if it was just completely destroyed and there was nothing left? Because most things will biodegrade. Most things will go back to the earth. Precious metals and minerals. There's a few things, man-made crap, plastics and all that kind of stuff, styrofoam and all that kind of stuff that won't break down. But the majority of stuff that are made from natural resources will go back to its original state if left unattended. So what if there was some cataclysmic event that literally destroyed everything and there was nothing left? And we had to rebuild. The few AI robots, humanoid robots that were left had to rebuild. What if there was some kind of battle between, some sci-fi type stuff, a battle between the robots and the humans? Y'all remember the movie? I know y'all remember the movie I, Robot with Will Smith. Y'all remember that movie? If you don't remember that movie, you definitely need to go and check it out, man. I, Robot was a wild, wild movie, man. It's a few years old. It's about 21 years old. But it begs the question, what if? Now, I'm going to pull this up and I want you to look at it. Look at that. Look at the robots. Look at their faces. All they lack is skin. That's all they lack. All they lack is skin. If you watch the movie, the way they moved like humans. There was still a roboticness to them. But that's just simple refinements. Think about what they're doing with things like artificial limbs. Think about the technology that goes into artificial limbs. Like if you lose your arm. They have technology now that can communicate with the nerves at the end of whatever the nub is. If you lost your arm from the elbow down, they have technology now that if the nerves still communicate, that they can attach technology onto the artificial limb, and you can actually use that limb like you would use your hand. We think that the stuff that is happening nowadays in the wide world of science is new. But it's only new, in my opinion, because it's new to us. And just because it's new to us doesn't necessarily mean it's new to the world. You know what I mean? We want to believe that we are the most intelligent beings in this universe. But the universe is vast, man. A lot of people in this universe. Not a lot of people, a lot of space in this universe. We don't really know what's out there. We don't even know who created us. You know what I mean? We don't know what the source is. We believe we do. We believe that the source, if you're a religious person, you believe that the source is God. If you're a scientific person, you believe that the source is the Big Bang Theory, where some rocks collided and some explosions happened, and here we are. You believe that, what's it called, where we evolve, evolution, where we evolve from apes to what we are now. We don't know what to believe. Because truth be told, everything, regardless of whether you want to believe it or not, is primarily theory. It's theory. It's one person's theory or a group of people's theory on what happens. There's theories about how we got here. There's theories about what will happen when we leave here. There's theories about what's going on in space. There's theories that say that there's no space, that we live underneath a dome and the world is flat. There's all these theories. We just assume that one of the theories, that whatever one it is that you believe in, is right. But truth be told, we don't know. I'm going to be really, really irritated if when I take my final breath on this earth and go on into the next phase, whatever it may be, I'm going to be really ticked off if all these answers that I've been wanting all these years are not revealed to me. I think that would be the most unbelievable injustice to humankind, mankind, is to let us live for however long we live with all these questions and to take us on up out of here and don't give us the answer to any of them. This was going to be a separate topic, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it now. I'll just scratch it as a separate topic. You guys ever see the movie The Truman Show with Jim Carrey? So if you've never seen The Truman Show, the concept is Jim Carrey was basically the world's first child born into reality TV. He was conceived and born into reality TV. So his whole entire world was manufactured in a television show. And over time, he began to get curious because little things would happen. They were like out of the norm. And he began to get curious because he had lived in the little town that he had lived in all his life, and he wanted to see the world. He wanted to travel, and every time he would try to take this road trip or this little vacation, something would prevent him from leaving that town. And spoiler alert, he ultimately finds out that his life, everything he knew about his life, was fake. It was fabricated. His job was fabricated. He took a canoe out, and he wanted to take this boat. He was trying to escape. They manufactured a storm to make it almost impossible for him to escape. He gets all the way to the end of the studio, which is ultimately his world, only to find out that it was fake. That there was no sky. The sky was painted onto this dome. He lived underneath a dome. And everything about his life was fake. What if that's true about us? What if we are living in a version of the Truman Show? We all know that something created us. Some power, some source, some energy created us. We know that because we're here. And the way that we move and exist is with perfect balance. We know that. The way the human body works, the way the heart beats, the way the central nervous system works. And while we're talking about artificial intelligence and robotics, think about how the nervous system works. It's electricity that fires those nerves. What if we are living in a variation Truman Show like existence? We know we exist. We know something or someone created us, but that's it. We have no other information on who we are, how we got here, how long humanity has been here. We have theories. But how do we know what to believe? We get lied to on a daily basis by the powers that be. Because the ultimate goal for some is control. Is to just control the narrative. To control who we are. To control what we do, where we go, what we see, what we learn. You got places like the Vatican. Who the hell gave the Vatican the control over all the pertinent information of our existence? You know what I mean? Are we AI? Are we actually AI? Just take a minute and look at yourself. Just look at your hands. When you stop and you're outside and you look at you use your eyes and you look at nature, just look around. Look at things, man, and just ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. A lot of times, topics like this, people don't want to talk about because people will assume that you're crazy. They'll assume that there's something wrong with you. But there's absolutely nothing wrong with having questions and questioning the information that we've been spoon-fed. Things are theories. Things are theories. Everything we know about this life that we're living is based upon theory. And I wonder, who are we really? What truly happens to us? What happens to the energy that lives inside us? That voice that you can hear even when you're not talking and you're sitting there in silence. That voice comes from somewhere. My man Busta Rhymes talked about it. Not Busta Rhymes. KRS-One talked about it. You don't know who he is. Old school rapper. Brilliant brother. But he asked the question. He had a room full of people. He said, all right, I want y'all to do this. I want you to, without opening your mouth, look at whatever it is in front of you and tell yourself what it is without opening your mouth. And then you know what he said? After the people did it? Who said that? Who inside you said that? What do we know about ourselves? What do we know about our past? What do we know about our future? And what do we know about our current existence? We would like to believe that the things that we have been taught are true and factual. People would love to trust and believe in religion. But you know what? There are, let me see. I used to know this number by heart. Give me 1 second. There are, let me pull it up so you can see. There are at least 10,000 religions. And then there are variations of certain religions, like Catholic and Roman Catholic, and then you got Protestant, and then you got, Methodist, and you got all these different variations of religion. You know why there are so many different variations of religions, especially in one sect? Because people had different theories and ideas. And the current belief system that they were in did not want to take their beliefs into consideration. So they started their own belief system or religion. Because everything is a theory. One of the biggest debates, and I get a kick out of it on TikTok, one of the biggest debates is round earth versus flat earth. And I'm not advocating for either side. I listen to both sides. I listen to people that talk about why the earth is round. I also listen to people that talk about why the earth is flat, or why they think the earth is flat, or why they think the earth is round. And when you listen to those type of conversations with an open mind, it does make you wonder. And if it doesn't, then you need to ask yourself, did the brainwashing work? It's okay to question the status quo. It's okay to question what is considered the norm. It's okay to question that stuff. It's okay to question God and God's existence. Brother Billy Carson talked about in the Bible that God killed more people than the devil did. I mean, if you read the Bible and you look through that information, you'll see that God actually was the more murderous one. According to analysis of the Bible, God caused significantly more deaths than Satan, with God responsible for millions of deaths, including the flood, and Satan directly responsible for around 10. That's Job's family. However, there are accounts of direct actions and interpretations that vary. Some sources note God ultimately permitted Satan's actions, with other theological viewpoints that emphasize the devil's role in the introduction of sin, which leads to all physical and spiritual death. So the reason that the devil was able to kill Job's family was because he and God were basically having a bet. And the bet was that Job would eventually forsake God if he lost enough. So God gave Satan permission to kill Job's family. The rest of the deaths in the Bible are directly related to God himself or herself or itself. We want to think we know what is true and what's not true. We want to think that we know what to believe and what not to believe. We don't want to question things because it makes you seem weird. We a lot of times just want to take what's told to us, believe it, and try to live a normal a life as possible. Because once you start asking questions and once you start looking at things in a different light, certain things just don't sit right with you anymore. And you can't just look at one thing and question it and then not begin to question other things. So to go back to my topic at hand today, are we actually AI? Who knows? But you can't help but wonder, and you can't help but notice a lot of the similarities in humanoid type robots that are being created and who we are, that are already created. They always talk about the uprising of the robots. Maybe the robots destroyed the earth, and the few that existed, the few that lived, began this quest to rebuild it. Because we all know that Earth does not need us to survive. As a matter of fact, the longer we live here, the more damage we do to Earth. So Earth doesn't need us to survive. You know what I'm saying? Earth is going to come back. So it doesn't matter if humanity and artificial intelligence and robots or whatever destroys each other for centuries to come. Earth will still exist. And someone else, thousands of years from now, will be sitting in front of a microphone, looking into a cell phone with the cameras on it, while simultaneously sitting in front of a laptop, talking to people and asking, are we actually AI? That's my show, y'all. If you are new to the channel, please, by all means, subscribe, click the reminder bell, give the video a thumbs up if you like it, leave a comment, share it, tell some friends about me. I'd love to see this channel grow. I'd love to have more conversations like this. I'm not afraid to ask questions, y'all. I'm not afraid to question the things that I see. Sometimes people want to make fun of you for asking questions of what is perceived as the obvious. But who taught us what the obvious is? And how come we just blindly take their word for it? I don't want to do that. I don't want to be that person. And I teach my children not to be those type of people. My grandfather always taught me to question everything. And that's exactly what I do. I love y'all. Be peace, be love, be one. And I will see you in the next video. You guys have a good evening. Bye. Thanks for tuning in to Totally Disgusted. Make sure to like, comment, and tell a friend.